Have you found your perfect saddle? In preparation for our event, which just passed, Velos, Vulvas and Vaginas, which was all about women's anatomy and cycling, I started researching what women online were ranking as their top saddles that were kind of specifically advantageous for women. And I narrowed it down to a few brands, and I decided to reach out to these brands and ask if we could get some saddles for our event. I did a lot of spamming on LinkedIn, so shout out to these brands who were very responsive and supported this event and sent us some saddles so that women could actually get these saddles into their hands and see just a wide range of saddle options. Even for me personally, it wasn't until I got a bike fitting about 2 years ago that I realized the importance of a saddle. I had been riding on whatever had come with the bike ever since I started cycling, and it was at the bike fitting that we really looked at not only the saddle itself, but the placement, the angle of the saddle, the height of the saddle, all of those things having a really big impact. And as well as the shorts as being an important ingredient in a happy vulva on our ride. And of course, our genital area is one of 3 contact points. And I think investing in a good saddle, which relatively to a lot of other things you can spend money on when it comes to cycling, the saddle is a pretty small investment and it can completely make or break a ride. So we were very lucky to get some of these different saddles sent to us for our event. And as I was packing them up, I really felt the temptation of trying these saddles out for myself. And so I spent a whole afternoon unscrewing and rescrewing the saddles on the saddle post, which if you've ever changed a saddle, you know it's not difficult, but it is a huge pain in the butt. But still less of a pain than having a bad saddle. So I want to walk you guys through some of the different models we have here, and then I'm going to try them on without cycling shorts just to see with that direct contact, are there any things I'm feeling immediately that I think could be problematic long term, and then I'm going to try them with cycling shorts. And at the end of this video, I'm going to wrap it up and rank what I thought were my favorite saddles. Now, of course, every vulva is different. We learned that on our recent podcast episode with Dr. Julia. Vulvas are like snowflakes, so I'm not suggesting that what works for me is going to work for you, but I am going to summarize some of my pain points, which I think probably are still generalizable to a lot of different people. Let's start by talking about the saddle that I have currently. Is this specialized power comp with mimic technology. This is kind of my first saddle that I got that wasn't coming with the bike. So this was already my first step up, and then I've been riding on this for over 2 years and I've been quite happy with it. I'm also gonna test a slightly different version of this saddle. I will be testing the Romin edition of this saddle, which just has a slightly longer nose. Same principle with this nice soft mimic technology, which they have in here, which I really like, but just a little bit of a different shape and also a different pelvic tilt shape. From Fizik, we have the Antares, which they claim is a race-ready saddle. It's low profile, built with ride-compliant nylon shell and S-alloy rails for better comfort, durability, and support. This one in particular is 140 millimeters, and so it's a little bit small for me, so I will not be trying that one today, but that was one of the ones that they sent, and it was a good option to show the women because we were also able to, at our event, measure our participants' sit bones for them, and so they could see kind of which one might be a good fit. So it was really nice to show that 140 is an option for women with narrower sit bones, which, fun fact, I am someone who is very tall. I'm 183 centimeters tall, and I actually had much narrower sit bones than some women who were not half my size, but significantly shorter than me. So don't judge a sit bone width by your size, and it's really, I think, a good starting point to get that measured. Whether you get a bike fitting or not, there's different bike shops that offer that as a sort of baseline starting point. Another saddle from Fizik we got, which is more gravel oriented, is the Argo X3, and I'm not sure what this little thing is about. Maybe at Fizik, if you want to tell me what's the idea with that? I was kind of wondering why there wouldn't just be a gap there, but maybe with gravel, I don't know if it's a matter of not getting stones in there. But this one is also on the wider side. So this is 160. So we were able to show our participants kind of both sides of the spectrum, but this is a little bit too wide for me. As I said, I am taller, but I do have narrower sit bones, so I will not be trying this one today. So then let's go into the ones from Fizik that I do want to try. We have the Vento racing series, and we have two saddles which are from the similar line but very different construction. So first we have this full carbon, and I cannot even tell you how light it is. It's insane. Like, it's that light. I don't know, it's like any indicator. But so carbon, full stiffness, very lightweight, short nose, versatile, sort of race performance saddle. And then with that similar shape, but in this case, this Zonal Comfort 3D printed cushioning. So you have different densities in different areas, which I'm very excited to try out. Also short nose, same shape. They're like cousins, or I guess brothers, or let's say sisters. Let's say these two are sisters. And then one more from Fizik I will try. Fizik sent a huge selection, as you can see, so we have the most options to try there. This is the Aliante R3, which is an endurance cycling saddle intended for sort of all-day comfort. And you can see this one has a waved profile and also this pressure relieving cutout. So I will also be trying this one. The third brand, selleItalia, we got, believe it or not, this one on a lot of sort of magazine or blog posts. This Lady Gel Flow was ranked top by a lot of women. I will say it is much more of like an introductory saddle, more intended for touring. So this one I will not be testing because it doesn't fit my needs personally, but I guess important to shout that one out. Give a shout out to it. And then from selleItalia, we have two sort of brothers and sisters. This is the female version of the Novus Boost Evo. As you can see, it says lady there. And then this is the Novus Boost Evo with Kit Carbon Superflow. I hate these names. But so this one is slightly lighter. I don't really feel a huge difference, but I will try both of these, because I'm always curious between, especially female specific models and male models. Like in the Fizik line, it isn't about being female specific or male specific. It's simply just having different needs. And here at Selle, they are calling this one lady specific. So I do want to try that. And these are intended for high pelvic rotation. So let's see how that works out for me. Okay, enough talking. Let's get to testing. You can see I have just regular shorts on because I wanted to start off by just feeling it out. Oh wow. Okay, first thing I notice is definitely the narrowness of the nose. You saw before that little like ski slope on the back of the saddle. I definitely notice, like when I go up in this position, if I were to try to ride hands-free, that's very uncomfortable. Maybe you can even see on the camera that it's like making a thing there. I really also feel my sit bones on the saddle in like kind of an aggressive way, and I don't know if that's just because I don't have shorts on. I do like the freedom I'm feeling in the nose of the saddle. Maybe if you have, this is so uncomfortable actually in this position, but if you do have larger legs and maybe you're experiencing a lot of chafing or something, sometimes what happens to me is sort of the back of my sort of glute hamstring gets a lot of friction from the saddle. And I think the way this is cut is nice for that I'm feeling quite free. I'm not really actually using much of this long nose. But then in that case, I have 4 or 5 centimeters extra of nose that I'm not using. Anyone else's shorts feel a bit tighter in the winter? If you're wondering what kind of pad I have in these shorts, you can either check out our video about these shorts, which are sort of a collaborative effort from our community to design them, pee-friendly,
or you can also look at that elastic inner vase. A bit about the different pads, and again, we'll have something coming out about that soon. So let's try this again. But I already do have, it's actually amazing because I was thinking I'm gonna have to ride forever on these saddles to really feel those pain points. But there's already quite a few things that jump out to me. So, okay, it feels a lot better with the shorts on, obviously. Come into this, but that seated, that upright position, maybe I would need to tilt the saddle this way to not have that, but then that would bring a lot more pressure onto the front. So I don't think, like knee-jerk reflex 5 minutes into this, I don't feel like this is the right saddle for me, which I think is saying a lot. So, I mean, if I now had to choose, just stick with the saddle I have. But the question is, can we do better? A little bit regretting complicating my life with these changes of shorts. I'm excited. This feels like very high end. Okay, once I kind of settle into it a little bit more, that's better. This one also, I will say, I like the way it's cut here. And on the first sit down, like when I do this, it feels okay. It's not like super soft. And actually, nothing is on the front of the nose. It's almost as if it weren't there. I would say everything that is really sensitive is actually in this gap. That's pretty cool. I'm not feeling any pressure at all on my vulva or labia. The only place I'm feeling pressure is on the sit bones. Okay, more arrow position. Everything is in there, but everything is in the hole. I'm just feeling sort of on the pelvic bone pressure there as well, but that's kind of less consequential. And the more aerodynamic I get, the less pressure also directly on the sit bones. It gets more distributed. Let's try it with my shorts. Actually, that feels quite nice. Going back up. That's a lot better as well compared to the last one. I'm gonna spin on this for a while because I quite like this one, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I just did around 20 minutes on this Fizik full carbon super lightweight one, and I will say the shape is very similar to my existing saddle, which I think is probably partly the reason why I liked it. The biggest difference, I would say, is that here you actually have like a literal space, which means that when I got into the low bar positions, I felt actually very comfortable there. And then there was just kind of a nice little home for my vulva and labia. So actually I really like that. I will say this one in like more vertical positions felt a bit harder on my sit bones. So let's try the next one and keep the good times rolling here. First impression, sitting in this position like this is quite comfortable. I noticed even when I was putting the saddle on the seat post that it had kind of like a really nice shape. And I'm feeling that already right now, to be honest. I gotta say, I really like, this also has a little bit of that little scoop at the back, but it seems to fit me a lot better. Where this is really quite comfortable. This is really, I gotta say, a comfortable position. Wow. These saddles are for a higher pelvic tilt, and maybe that's something that I have. Ooh. I honestly don't even feel like I need to try on the shorts with this one. Because this feels really nice. I wasn't expecting to like this one as much as I do. I honestly, I actually just don't even need to ride this anymore. You know, it feels really good. I will for the sake of the experiment, try sort of the non-ladies version and see how doable that is, and try to decide if it's really just like the padding that's super nice, or if it's the shape. So just like this, I'm honestly not feeling a huge difference between the two. The funny thing is, it's like this one compared to the lady version, which, by the way, I kind of hate that it says lady on here. It's just like a little bit harder, not as soft gel padding. Really liking the gap, the relief area on this one. It feels a little bit harder on those pelvic bones. But keeping in mind I'm basically not wearing anything, so let's try it on with shorts. Yeah, it feels good. A long nose that I'm not making use of, but this seated thing is a lot better when I have some padding here. You don't feel it as aggressively. Yeah, it feels good. I would definitely give this a longer go. Like, maybe I'll keep it on there sneakily. Last but not least is the Fizik 3D printed Vento Argo adaptive. Honestly, I'm struggling to get comfortable. First impression, I really like the way the honeycomb feels. It feels like little shock absorbers, but the layout of it already feels not optimal. It's not intuitively comfortable without shorts, especially because there's like these little seams I'll show you later. So putting on these shorts for the last time, and we'll be right back. I feel when I'm in this position, I feel a lot more pressure on my vulva / labia than I did on the other ones. All right, moment of truth. I've got my good old trusty saddle back on, and it's time to reflect. Yeah, honestly, okay. I feel like I know what I need to know. That's it. I'm ready to review 5 seconds later. All right, so I've invested, to be honest, more than one afternoon into trying these saddles, and I'm ready to answer the question, is there a saddle in this mix that I'm willing to trade out with my tried and true and tested existing specialized power comp with Mimic technology? Yeah. I think there is. Let's talk about what I liked and didn't like from each of these saddles that I tested. Starting with the slightly longer nosed version of the saddle I already have. What I really liked about this Specialized Romin saddle is that really sleek nose, and I really felt like I had this very free range of motion between my legs. So if you're somebody who suffers from a lot of chafing or saddle sores, friction issues, I think maybe a slim nose could be worth trying. What I didn't like, however, was that really aggressive slope in the back, and it made sitting upright, quite honestly, almost impossible. Even with padded shorts on, I felt very uncomfortable, and it pushed me to really quickly eliminate that saddle. Honestly, it's like a 2.5 for me, really just because of that really uncomfortable rear region. The next saddle I tried was this Fizik Vento Argo 00, the full carbon, super lightweight thing. And honestly, it is very minimalistic feeling. I don't know, I kind of looked at this and I was like, this is not going to be comfortable. And I would say I was most surprised about this saddle. I think this really big relief zone for me was just an eye-opening experience. Going from the Specialized saddle here, which doesn't have a relief zone, to something like this was really, really nice, especially
when I got into my drop bar position, I had no pressure whatsoever on any of those sensitive spots. So if your primary concern is pressure on your vulva, pressure even on your clitoris when you're getting into those more aerodynamic positions, honestly, I think you have to try something with this physical relief zone. I mean, there's nothing there. You're free, floating. You've got a nice little home for your vulva here, and it's really a treat. I put the most time in on this one because I really liked it. The only thing for me is I felt on my sit bones, in the more slightly upright positions, a lot more pressure there. So I was wanting to move on and try something else. If it was down to these two, this one definitely gets ranked higher, and I would probably put it just on the line of almost a 4 for me. 4 out of 5. Then we have the Aliante R3. What I liked about the saddle is it has this nice wave in it. I realized after trying this one and also the Selle saddles that I have a high pelvic rotation when I'm in my seated position on the bike. So that means that I really benefit from a more waved profile. I still wish this was bigger, but I'm going to put it at a 4 because I realize that wave is important to me. So I'm going to put the Aliante R3 at a 4 out of 5. So when I tried the Vento Argo Adaptive with just shorts and not cycling shorts, these seams were a little bit aggressive for me. I loved in the more upright positions this cushioning here. And of course here, this is in the middle much softer. That would be similar to that Mimic technology. However, same thing I said with the Specialized saddle, it's not nothing there. Now that I've tried nothing there, I don't want to go back to something with something there. So that put that down to around a 3. So actually when it comes to the Fizik saddles, my dream scenario, just putting this out there, whoever at Fizik is watching, would be this overall shape on that dimension, this relief zone, this wave, and then this like padding throughout, except with that relief zone. So to me, these 3 would probably make my dream saddle. And it was really great to learn about those different things in this like step-by-step process. Drum roll to my top pick of today, which is the Novus Boost Evo Lady Superflow. Between the two of them, between the brother and sister here, I didn't notice that much of a difference in terms of comfort. So if you're not too sensitive to having a super soft saddle, I think both will work fine for you. Out of the selection today, we'll get 5 stars out of 5. What I really loved about this saddle was, one, that physical relief zone. Second of all, that shorter nose saddle. I found on all of the saddles that I was testing that I was not even going beyond here at any point. So for me, the short nose is plenty. This curved shape on some of the saddles that didn't have this wave, I felt a lot more pressure on my sit bones in the top of my drop bars in more upright positions. Whereas in these ones, they really adapted to my high pelvic rotation, which was really, really great. And even though this one has that wave, it has also a secondary relief zone here. So I'm not getting that additional like ski slope pressure that I was feeling with the Romin saddle. Therefore, the winner of today is this one. This is not a comprehensive list. There's a million saddles out there. Some triathletes reached out to me with their saddle suggestions, and I was like, I can't even go there. I just want to create a baseline, get people to start thinking about their comfort on the bike, think about the saddle they have, think about what their pain points are, and then try to cater some decision making into that. Overall takeaway message is don't settle for less. Once you try a saddle that has more of what you need, you're gonna be like, why haven't I been riding like this the whole time? So I hope that's been helpful, and I also hope to see you at our next event, which is on May 10th, and we'll even get to have some of these saddles there. So check it out, and we'll see you there. Happy cycling.